All right, let's dive in. Today we're focusing on helping you crush your upcoming sensor engineer interview.
Always exciting.
You were smart enough to send over some excellent resources from RoleCatcher, their career guide and interview guide.
Great
We're
resources.
going to pull out all the stops to make sure you not only know what to say, but really nail the delivery.
It's not just what you say, it's how you say it. Makes a big difference.
And we'll sprinkle in some AI magic from RoleCatcher to give you that extra advantage.
Absolutely. That AI can really help you stand out.
I was really impressed with this career guide. It shows that being a sensor engineer is so much more than just working with the sensors themselves.
Oh, yeah. You're designing entire systems, like the brains behind how things work. Sometimes it's stuff you wouldn't even think
I
of.
mean, industries are all over the place.
That's what's so cool about it. Automotive, aerospace, medical, even environmental monitoring and agriculture. Lots of options to specialize or branch out.
Okay, so we've established that this field is booming, but let's get to the heart of it, prepping for those interview questions.
Let's do it. Let's nail these questions.
This interview guide has 10 common questions, and I think going through each one, dissecting them, will be super helpful.
Sounds good to me.
All right, question number 1. What experience do you have in designing and developing sensor systems? Seems pretty basic, but what are interviewers really looking for here?
I think they want more than just a list of projects. They're looking for your thought process, your ability to solve problems, and take an idea and turn it into something real.
How can someone make their answer stand out for a question like this?
Think back to challenges you've faced in your projects. Did you have a tiny budget or super tight deadlines? Did you have to make different types of sensors play nice together?
That's where the functions and core abilities section of the career guide comes in.
Right. It mentions things like sensor selection, signal processing, and system integration. Sprinkling those in shows you know what you're talking about.
For sure. Yeah. They're going to hit you with follow-up questions, too. Be ready to dig into a specific project. Why'd you choose that design? What were the trade-offs? That sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, tell me about a time you had to pick between two sensor technologies. What made you go one way or the other?
Exactly. Now, this is where RoleCatcher's AI can be super useful, right?
Absolutely. You can actually use it to analyze job descriptions and see which skills they're really emphasizing. Tailor your answer to match.
Like a secret decoder ring for job postings.
It kind of is. And the AI can even help tailor your answers for each question to make sure you're hitting the mark.
That's amazing. Okay, on to question number 2. How do you ensure the accuracy and reliability of sensor data? Seems pretty crucial.
Oh, it's the heart of it all. Sensor data is what drives the decisions. And if it's wrong, everything goes sideways. You got to show you understand how to validate that data.
So don't just toss out words like calibration.
Right. Tell them how you've actually USD those techniques. Did you have to create a custom algorithm to filter the data? What about redundancy to make sure the data's good?
I like how the FAQ section in the career guide dives into the challenges of getting accurate, reliable data.
Yeah, it mentions stuff like environmental factors that can mess things up, sensors drifting over time, even just the limitations of the tech itself.
Showing you get those challenges really makes you look like you know your stuff.
Exactly. And interviewers love to use follow-ups to see how you solve problems.
They'll probably ask something like, tell me about a time you found a weird glitch in the data. What'd you do?
Love that. Walk them through how you think, how you break down a problem when things get tough.
Makes sense. Question 3. How do you stay current with sensor technology and trends? This feels more about passion than just knowing the tech.
It's about showing that you're not just punching the clock. You genuinely care about this field, the possibilities, and that you're hungry to learn.
So I read journals is not going to cut it.
Nope. Name those journals, tell them what conferences you've been to. Have you taken any courses, even just online? Did you play around with any cool new tech on your own time?
This is where those personal projects can really pay off, huh?
Big time. If you built something with Arduino, Raspberry Pi, whatever, talk about it. It shows you're a self-starter.
And RoleCatcher actually has a ton of info on trends in new tech, like a custom news feed for sensor engineers.
It's awesome. And their showcasing your capabilities section talks about building a portfolio. You can link your projects, certifications, even your RoleCatcher profile to show off what you've got.
Awesome. All right, moving on to question 4. Can you describe your experience with sensor data analysis? Time to show off those analytical chops.
You got it. Sensor data is useless if you don't know how to analyze it. You got to show them you can pull out meaningful insights, find patterns, make recommendations based on what you see.
So it's not just about saying you know how to use MATLAB or Python.
Right. Talk about how you use those tools to solve actual problems.
Mm.
Did you optimize a process? Did you make something more efficient? Did you create a totally new algorithm?
Don't be afraid to get a little technical here, right?
Definitely not. Mention those specific data analysis techniques you've used: statistical modeling, machine learning, signal processing.
Which, conveniently, are all mentioned in the computers and electronics section of the career guide.
It all ties together. It also talks about data visualization, which is a huge plus if you've made any charts, graphs, dashboards, that sort of thing.
I bet a common follow-up would be, tell me about a time you had to analyze a huge, messy data set. What was tough about it? How did you handle it?
Exactly. That's where you can talk about data cleaning, extracting features, picking the right model. It shows a deeper level of understanding.
And I'm guessing RoleCatcher's AI can point you to which data analysis skills are most in demand.
You bet. That way you can emphasize the right stuff in your answers.
Smart. All right, question 5 is a big one these days. How do you ensure the security and privacy of sensor data, especially with all the IoT and connected devices everywhere?
Absolutely crucial. Employers want to know you take data security seriously, that you've got strategies to protect that information.
Don't just mention encryption or access control, right?
Nope. Talk about actual protocols you've implemented, things like secure transmission methods, user authentication, even data anonymization.
If you know any industry-specific rules like GDPR or high pay, mention those too.
Great point. Shows you're aware of the bigger picture. But don't just throw out acronyms. Explain what they mean and how they relate to sensor data.
They might hit you with, tell me about a time you designed a system that handled really sensitive data. How'd you make sure it was secure?
Perfect example. That's where you can shine. Show them you think about security from the start.
Okay, question 6 is a good one. Can you describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a sensor system issue? All about problem solving on the spot.
Every engineer's got to do it. It's about showing you can identify, diagnose, and fix technical problems.
Think about a specific example where you nailed it and walk the interviewer through every step. What tools did you use? What tests did you run? How'd you find the root cause and fix it?
It's all about showing how you think analytically and methodically. Did you isolate the problem? Did you eliminate possibilities? Did you check the documentation? Or maybe ask for help?
The work environment section of the career guide talks about how sensor engineers often work in teams.
Oh, for sure. If your troubleshooting involved teamwork, talk about how you communicated and collaborated. Those are gold star skills.
And I bet they'll ask, what was the trickiest troubleshooting experience you've had, and what did you learn from it?
Definitely. That's where you show you're resilient, that you learn from mistakes, and that you're always trying to get better.
On to question 7. Can you discuss your experience working with different types of sensors? Show off that wide range of knowledge.
Yeah, there are tons of sensors out there. Temperature, pressure, motion, optical, chemical. Be ready to talk about the ones you've actually worked with and how they're used.
Don't just rattle off a list, though.
Right. Give them context. What projects were they part of? What were the tricky bits about using them?
The specialism section mentions that some engineers focus on certain types of sensor tech. If you have a specialty, this is the time to shine.
Definitely. Shows you've got deep knowledge in a particular area, which can be a huge advantage. A likely follow-up here would be, tell me about a time you had to learn a new sensor technology super fast. How'd you go about it?
It's all about showing you're a quick learner and can adapt on the fly.
Exactly. All right, question number 8 takes us to the exciting part. Can you describe your experience in developing sensor-based applications?
This is where sensors really make a difference. Think about applications you've developed, maybe a mobile app showing sensor data, or a program that crunches the data and spits out reports.
And talk about the user experience. Did you make a user-friendly interface? Did you consider accessibility and how people would interact with the data?
It's interesting that the Elevating Your Career section mentions that some sensor engineers transition into software development or user interface design.
Makes sense. It's a natural progression, using that sensor expertise in a new way.
Okay, question 9. Can you discuss your experience in collaborating with cross-functional teams to develop sensor systems? Teamwork time.
You rarely build sensor systems alone. You'll be working with engineers, designers, product managers, maybe even marketing and sales folks.
So be ready to talk about how you work as part of a team. Communication, handling disagreements, contributing to everyone's success, it all matters.
It does. The networking opportunities section talks about going to conferences and workshops. Those are great ways to connect with other pros and learn from them.
Any team projects or group activities are great to mention here too.
Definitely. A good follow-up might be, tell me about a time you worked with someone who had a totally different way of solving problems. How did you handle that?
Shows you can be flexible and respect different viewpoints.
Absolutely. And finally, question 10. Can you discuss your experience in implementing sensor systems in a production environment?
Taking it from the drawing board to the real world.
It's one thing to build a prototype, but manufacturing, installing, and maintaining a system in the real world, that's a different beast.
Talk about your experience with production processes, quality control, troubleshooting in a real-world setting. Have you worked with vendors, dealt with contractors, had to stick to industry standards and safety rules?
Important stuff. And the career guide talks a lot about safety and ethics in sensor engineering. If you have any training or certifications, mention those.
For sure. One last potential follow-up. Tell me about a time you had to fix a sensor system problem in a live production environment. What did you do to minimize downtime and make sure things went smoothly?
That's where you shine. It shows you can think on your feet, work under pressure, and deliver results.
And let's not forget, RoleCatcher's AI can pinpoint the most relevant skills for the jobs you're after.
Right. You can fine-tune your answers to really stand out.
This has been incredibly helpful. We've covered so much in this first part of our deep dive.
10 tough interview questions down, and now you've got a solid plan for tackling them.
And we're just getting started. Next time, we'll see how RoleCatcher's AI can help you polish your answers and even get you noticed by the right people.
This is where it gets really exciting. All right, welcome back to your Sensor Engineer Deep Dive. Last time we tackled those tricky interview questions. Now let's see how RoleCatcher's AI can take things up a notch.
I love this AI stuff. It's like having a personal coach who analyzes everything, tells you where you can improve, helps you really nail your delivery.
Think of it like a virtual mock interview panel, but powered by some serious tech smarts.
Imagine practicing your answer to, tell me about a time you faced a technical challenge. You can record yourself on video, upload it to RoleCatcher, and the AI goes to work.
It looks at your facial expressions, your body language, your whole delivery. It might suggest sitting up straighter to project confidence or speaking a bit slower for clarity.
Little tweaks that can make a huge difference.
Absolutely. And the coolest part, the feedback is tailored to the specific job you want.
So it's factoring in the company culture, the industry, even the skills listed in the job description.
Exactly. It's all about helping you put your best foot forward for that particular opportunity.
Okay, so we've got the interview answers down.
Yeah.
But there's another part of RoleCatcher that I think is a game changer, the RoleCatcher network.
Yes. This is where the AI goes beyond just analyzing your skills. It starts connecting you with employers who are looking for someone just like you.
It's almost like a matchmaking service for jobs.
It really is. You make a profile, and the AI does the hard work of matching you with companies that need your specific skill set.
So you're not just throwing your resume out there and hoping for the best.
Exactly. You're being proactive and getting in front of the right people.
And remember, the Career Guide talks about how important networking is in sensor engineering. This platform takes care of a lot of that for you.
And the more it's used, the smarter it gets. The AI is always learning and getting better at making those connections.
Now, let's switch gears for a bit and talk about career paths. The Elevating Your Career section of the Career Guide talks about all sorts of options for sensor engineers.
It's not just about climbing the ladder.
Right. You can specialize in a specific sensor technology, like MEMS or optical sensors. You could move into research and development, pushing the boundaries of what's possible. You could even start your own company.
Lots of possibilities.
Yeah.
And the guide emphasizes how important it is to keep learning. It mentions certifications like Certified Sensor Systems Engineer, CSSE, or Certified Control Systems Technician, CCST.
Those look good on a resume.
They do. They show you're serious about your career and have expertise in certain areas.
They could even lead to better pay and faster promotions, right?
Possibly. Speaking of pay, sensor engineers are in high demand, which means competitive salaries and benefits. The career guide mentions that.
So you can do what you love, and EDs make a good living.
It's a win-win. And RoleCatcher's platform can actually help you research salaries for different jobs and locations so you know what you're worth when it's time to negotiate.
That is so useful.
It really is. Now, I think it's good to touch on what it's actually like to be a sensor engineer day to day. The example profile in the career guide does a great job of showing that.
It talks about designing systems, doing research, analyzing data, working with teams, even going out in the field to solve problems.
It's hands-on. Lots of problem solving, using your creativity and technical skills to figure things out.
And it's a field that's always changing. which keeps things interesting.
Definitely. You're always learning, always growing, always pushing the limits of what's possible.
Now, it's not all sunshine and roses. There are definitely challenges that come with the territory.
Oh, for sure. The FAQs section of the career guide talks about those. Things like making sure data is accurate and reliable, dealing with really complex systems, and staying up to date as technology changes so fast.
But those challenges are part of what makes it so rewarding, right?
Absolutely. It's all about using your skills and knowledge to solve those tough problems and make a difference.
And remember, RoleCatcher is there to help you every step of the way.
From polishing your interview answers to connecting you with the right employers, they've got you covered.
They're a great resource. Now, in the final part of our deep dive, we'll look at some additional resources and insights that can help you stand out even more and really nail that sensor engineer job. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a ton, from mastering interview questions to exploring different career paths in sensor engineering.
And don't forget how RoleCatcher's AI can help you refine your answers and connect with potential employers. It really gives you an edge.
Absolutely. But there's one more thing from RoleCatcher. We haven't talked about their skill guides, and these can really make you stand out.
Skill guides.
Yeah, they're packed with info on specific skills that are in high demand for different sensor engineering roles.
Oh, I see.
Like cheat sheets for success, basically.
Yeah.
They take these complex skills and break them down, giving you definitions, explanations, even real-world examples.
Handy. So if you're applying for a role that needs, say, signal processing expertise.
RoleCatcher's got a skill guide for that. It'll walk you through the basics, things like filtering, transforms, spectral analysis.
Like a mini course, but just for sensor engineer.
Exactly. And they don't just stop at theory. They give practical tips and advice on how to actually use those skills in the real world.
That's smart.
So, for example, the skill guide on embedded systems might talk about different microcontrollers used with sensors, like what are their strengths and weaknesses.
That's super helpful.
It's like having a mentor walking you through the field, sharing all their knowledge.
Love it.
And the best part, they keep those skill guides updated with the latest trends and technologies.
So you know you're learning stuff that's actually in demand.
Exactly. Now, we've talked a lot about technical skills, but don't forget about those soft skills. They matter just as much.
Oh, absolutely. The career guide makes a big point about communication, teamwork, problem solving, critical thinking.
Those are the skills that help you work well with others, get your ideas across, and handle those tricky situations that always pop up.
And RoleCatcher can actually help you with those too. Their interview guides give tips on how to communicate effectively during interviews, how to connect with the interviewers, how to let your personality shine through.
It's about showing them you're not just a tech whiz, but you're also a great person to work with.
Right. And the AI can even give you feedback on those softer aspects too, helping you fine-tune your approach.
That's fantastic. So as we wrap up this deep dive, a few final thoughts. Sensor engineering is a field full of opportunity.
It's a great blend of innovation, problem solving, and a passion for technology.
And with the right prep and the right resources, you can really make a difference in this field.
RoleCatcher is a fantastic resource, honestly. Their platform has so much info, guidance, and those AI-powered tools to help you succeed.
Definitely check out their website, explore the guides, and let that AI work its magic.
With everything you've learned from this deep dive, you're well on your way to landing that dream job as a sensor engineer.
We have no doubt. Good luck on your journey. Keep learning, keep exploring, and keep pushing those boundaries. This has been The Deep Dive, signing off.